Hey. Hey, can you?
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Hold on 1 second. I need to turn on my microphone. I had a call earlier. Oh, it's already up. Oh, great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, good. I think we're gonna have a couple of more people joining us in a minute. How are you doing? How are you doing today?
We got a new president. That's how I'm doing.
Oh no! I know you're happy about it. You know, I think
that's a breath of fresh air when you watch a news briefing.
Yeah.
Of a president that talks like a president, that a White House secretary talks like a White House secretary.
Yeah.
Asks questions with knowledge and science. Man, makes my day.
Is he as divisive for you guys? Because I know you. Do you actually like him, or is it more about you're just happy to get Trump out? How is it for you?
I love Biden just
you
because
like
I'm a military. I come from a military family.
Okay.
So military, you kind of understand some of the things that he does, and I know everybody has their opinions about all the other stuff. You know, but at the end of the day, all politics have some kind of under plunder stuff, I should say, that they need to do because you got a will and deal. It's like almost like a wheel of fortune where you're holding the highest land in the land. But overall, to see some of the things that he's been through and even through this whole election, how he has handled COVID, yes, it's out of hand. But just to see some of the things he's put in place to know that we'll say in a year, it'll be better off. And him thinking about the families, and trying to make things better for families, working families, not just the rich.
Yeah.
That's why I always love Biden, because he was always for the middle class. He was like for us. And, people have their opinions, again, what they say. But for me, he's always had a place to make sure. And he stood by his word. Think about how many women of color, people of color that are in these positions that are not just women of just not color, but educated that have knowledge, and not just your crony or your homeboy that don't know shiggity, and you put him in office.
Okay. So wow, so you're like a fan. You're like a fan of his, at least.
No, not even a fan. I'm a fan of I appreciate what you're trying to do. Running a country is not easy, but it's not even a fan. It's about seeing the work. To me, that shows effort. That you're coming in, you're staying to your word, like with helping with rental assistance, because even the poor, not even the poor, even the rich, they're suffering.
Yeah,
I have many friends who are entrepreneurs.
Wait there. The rich are suffering.
Like entrepreneurs, like back in March, who were really making wonderful money, and COVID really has shut their business down. And to see him now understanding that, it starts from the ground up, from the bottom up. It's not from the rich. It's not from the top down. It's from the bottom up. We are the one that makes, the world. We are your buying power. So it's just been refreshing to hear something that we heard like 8 years ago when President Obama was in office, to hear refreshing, to see. And like, man, understand what you're seeing, so yeah. I've been excited.
All right, that's cool.
And I like the question that we're going to talk about today. I like that question.
That's what we're going to try and stay on that topic today. We don't want to talk too much about these guys. That's too divisive for me. I'm like, okay. Hey, Carlin, how you going?
Yeah, but I can't see any of you guys.
You can't see us? And your microphone is terrible at the moment.
Can you hear me?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
It's like you're far away or something.
Yeah, I can't see you guys either. What should I find strange. I don't see anybody. And then
Can you see us now?
He might have to come. He might have to go in and go back out.
Yeah, you might have to do that. You could try.
It says host disabled attendees screen sharing.
Me.
So I don't know. It says host disabled attendees screen sharing.
I don't know what that is. Oh, you mean that? No, that means that you can't share, but normally only one person can share at a time, and that's me at the moment. So that's why it's disabled. You know, you could barely hear you. I don't know. Maybe you need to change your microphone or something like this. I don't know. But we can't hear you that well.
Do I have to talk? Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. But you still sound so far away. Like, I don't know. Maybe you're in the. Are you in water or something? It sounds like you're in water. Wait, one sec. Yeah, he definitely sounds like he's in water. Okay, so. All right, sounds. Okay, don't worry about it. Anyway, what we want to talk about today is first topic is overpopulation or bad resource management. Obviously, there's a topic that was the issue in the world today that apparently there's too many people being born. There's too many people, you know, just in general in every country, which I don't believe, but just to say that. And the only way to do that is obviously there's the conspiracy theory going around that COVID, this coronavirus thing is there to wipe out so many of the population, the percentage, so we can all have more stuff, apparently, which seems to be. I just want to get your guys' opinion. What do you think? You know, do you think it's true that we're overpopulated, or do you think that it's all just scaremongering? I think it's the word. They're trying to scare us into acting a particular way. Or actually, you know, before you go, let me start off what I think. I believe that in the world, like if, you know, there's been statistics proven that every single person who lives on the planet could fit into Texas, into one state in America. Every single person could fit in there and be all right. So I don't know where to get this idea that there's too many people on the planet. And then when they say there's too many people on the planet, they're always like, yeah, there's too many babies in like China, India, and Africa, and all these places. But you never really hear it like anywhere else. So I don't even know why overpopulation would be an issue here in Europe, for example, or in America, when they say the overpopulation is actually in places like Africa and Bangladesh and India. Do you know what I mean? So what I put it down to really is, in my opinion, it's bad resource management. I think the resources that we have on the planet Earth are not being split and shared evenly among the people or among the countries. As we know, a lot of the southern hemisphere countries feed the northern hemisphere countries. And if that's based on the fact that for 4 months of the year, nothing grows in the northern hemisphere in most countries because it's too cold. So they would need the southern hemisphere. And that's why when you look at all the southern hemisphere countries, or the countries that lie on the equator, where food grows continuously all around the year, you see that these are the countries that are occupied by the people they say are overpopulating. So what they're basically saying is, yeah, in these countries, Bangladesh, India, even Brazil, Africa, there's too many people there for us to eat nicely. Let me know if you think I'm off here. What do you think? Maybe you can start, Mr. Brazil.
I agree with what you say. I think we have enough resources. I just think that there are people that are greedy out there that prefer to take more of the pie from themselves and not share it.
No,
That's my personal opinion.
I think so too. I think you're right about it.
There's enough food on the planet. There's enough food on the planet. The Vatican itself could feed every poor person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they prefer to put things made of gold within their churches. You know, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The Vatican could easily, with the money that they make, feed all the poor people on the planet. But, you know, they choose not to.
Yeah.
Why? You know, it doesn't make sense, right?
Mm. Especially because that's meant to be a religious kind of, it's meant to be a religious order that's meant to be there to help the people. So I don't know how it actually ended up that they have the most money. Actually, it's just like saying, which is the next topic, obviously, which we'll go into in a minute, is why government would have so much money when actually they're supposed to be made for the people and not for, you know, oh, we're gonna make profit. We're gonna make sure these guys have a lot of money and these guys have a lot of money. That never really makes sense to me. Tanya, what do you think about it? Are you? I think you're muted at the moment.
Okay. I know I hear about the conspiracy theories all the time. For me, I think it's when it comes to COVID, it's real. I've had family members pass away. And I think sometimes too, I think our generation is getting younger. There's more baby boomers, more millennials that are not having children per se. I think it's more of that age bracket between 20, I would say about 30 now to about 40. So I think the age of baby boomers are now getting older versus the younger. So I think that conspiracy theory is just thrown out there like the rest of it. And because a lot of countries do, you know, there's a lot of countries like China, even Africa, where they it's against for their religion to be on birth control pills. There's a, you know, again, I teach with mostly Somali children, so I do see that a lot where my parents in a school year might have 2 children pretty much in a school year, in a 9-month school year. So I think it's based off the culture, you know, the culture of where you live at. In the United States, we do a lot of preventive measures for people to have, you know, not to have children. Whereas just for say Africa, it is celebrated. You know, a mother is celebrated. The more children she has, the more that's her fruitation. That's who she is. That makes her that veteran, makes her more beautiful. Whereas in other countries like our country, we really talk about, you know, Roe versus Wade. We talk about, you know, abortion, you know, it's more of a woman's choice. Whereas in other countries, it is not a woman's choice. You know, your choice is when you take on a husband is to marry. So I think those conspiracy theories are, you know, are to me are getting outdated because the world is changing, but things are still staying the same. You know, especially when it comes to our third world countries, a lot of them they celebrate family, you know, having children and reproducing is family. So with the COVID, it's just something that has happened. It's like any other main, we've never had a pandemic. I think it's for us. We've never had a pandemic that has hit our country at the level that it has hit, that it's really taken us off balance. And so we're looking to other, you know, all these conspiracy theories is happening is because no one knows like what could have happened if we would have took preventive measures back in 2016, 2015, you know, what measures. So I think it's now is pretty much, you know, is where do we go from there?
I think they just try to basically tie it in, and they try to tie it in. They try to tie the conspiracy theories into whatever's happening at the current moment. And that's why, as I used to be a conspiracy nut too. I used to be someone who's really in all that stuff, like the lizard people. I used to be.
Oh wow!
I was the guy. Trust me, I know so much about it. It's unbelievable. I'll just never repeat it anymore because I don't. It's not that I don't believe it. I do believe there's something going on, but I don't want to. I want to focus on the cure. I want to focus on how we can, you know, get out of this and make a better world for everybody. You know, so. That's why I say.
And the conspiracy theory is running rampant in the United States. Like it was sent here on purpose. It was sent in the air. No, it happened. I think we just were not prepared for it. I think when it happened, people still didn't believe it. So all this, and I was too. I was like, what? Because I was one. I didn't wear my mask. I was like, this ain't real. This is something they just trying to make us because of, you know, 45 and we're not doing it. And then it hit my families. It hit people that I knew. It devastated. You know, people that I knew that were close. My cousin ended up having it, and he was in a coma for 3 weeks. That's when I started to, you know, not even 3 weeks. It was almost 2 months. That's when I started to realize that this was real, that this wasn't a conspiracy theory. This was something real, like, you know, and now we're trying to figure out how to contain it when it's ran rampant for, you know, for almost a full year with no control. And now it's like, it's wiping out. But it's not wiping out kids. It's wiping out adults. So
well, older people more, isn't it? More, it's taking out like the old people, 17 over, I guess, are the most dangerous group. What I do want to say though,
it's still going out.
maybe they're like, you know, maybe they're at the point where they fix themselves. You know what? I'm old. I've lived my life. I don't care anymore. So I'm gonna go out. What I do want to say is actually I wanted to touch on when you said that your kids come from Somalia, obviously, and that they celebrate having kids because, like, I've got 3 kids, obviously, and I got an African friend. He comes from Senegal, and he's always like, "When's the 4th one coming?" I'm like, "Dude, the 3rd one was, I don't want to say too loud, but that was not supposed to happen. Like when it did. So why do you think I'd make a 4th one?" I was like, "That's it for me. That's it. I'm done. I'm cutting off my tools and I'm putting them in the bin." that's where I'm at, But it's like you said, in like places of Africa, obviously they're like, or even like Islamic people, they're like, the more kids you have, the better. That's why you see,
Turkish.
that's why you see when they're at like one family, if they're Islamic. I guess what's happened is over the years, I remember when I was growing up, every family like Islamic, etc., they would have like 5 or 6 kids in the house, or 7 or 8 or whatever. What I've realized now is, though, they've cut it down in Europe. They have less kids now than they used to because people earn less money, and it's not really important to have a lot of money, but it's important to be able to
take care of.
Take care of your family and get the stuff you want. People just want stuff. Want stuff. That's it. So that's changed a lot, and that's why I think if anyone's worried about overpopulation, I think that they don't have to worry, because I think we've kind of, especially us in the West, like in Germany, for example, I think the average family has 0.7 kids. 0.7 kids. You calculate that, I think it's either 0.7 or 0.9. That means the average family is not even having one child, a family. Yeah, I think that means to keep the balance going in Germany, for example, each person would have to have 3 kids now to offset the people who are not having kids. So we have to have 1 kid to help the families that are only having 1 kid because it's too low. So I was saying that in Germany, you'll have no families soon. First of all, you won't have Germans. All of them will be Islamic.
Or Africans. Or
Africans, or the countries that don't care about having kids and want to have as many as possible. And and then obviously also the age, everyone's getting older. So you've already got in Germany, I think it's the 2nd oldest country in the world behind, the 3rd. Monaco, Japan, Monaco, and Germany are the top 3. They have an old-aged population.
Right, population.
Too old. So I'm like, when most of these people die, you've got no people anymore and you're good. So there's your population problem gone in Germany. I think England's the same, and I think America's also quite the same. Where it's different is Brazil, for example. The Carlin comes from Brazil. They've got a young population. Their average age is like 23 or something, or 25. So they've got a lot of youth people, and they still have kids. I don't think they got the restrictions. Carlin, do you know? Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Am I voice sound better?
There's a little bit of a feedback sound. Last week was much better. Did you change your headphones or something, or was you on your computer?
Yeah, I can't find my old headphones, but can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, yeah. It's better than last time, yeah, definitely.
All right.
In Brazil, obviously, is there any restrictions on having like kids, or is there any discussion about there's too many people being born? Because Brazil's got a big population, but it's
But people are having less kids because people are finding it's expensive to have kids.
Sure.
I mean, even in the poor neighborhood here where I live, in the favela, back in the 70s and 80s, it was very common for people to have 4 to 5 kids.
Yeah.
Now people having 1 to 2 because there's also been an initiative here in the favela where they are encouraging people to have less children. And the message is basically, why have a child if you can't support it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because, I mean, every child is a blessing, right?
Yeah.
And
that's what they say.
Why have so many children that you can't care for properly? Meaning, make sure they go to school, make sure they have clean clothes, make sure they eat half a decent food, not just junk. You know what I'm saying? So there's a big push here in the favelas for people to have 1 to 2 children and to be able to give them a better quality life instead of having the 4 to 5 children that was very common back in the 70s,
Mm,
because a lot of people here, um, like you'll get the husband working, maybe the wife is working as well
mm,
to support the family, and then the kids are coming home from school with nobody to care for them, and then by 12, 13, they're dropping out of school, they're getting into trouble,
yeah, yeah,
and then a lot of these kids end up either in prison or dead.
yeah. Okay.
And my, I kind of agree in the sense that I'd rather have 1 to 2 and make sure they survive and have a decent upbringing
Mm,
than to have 4 or 5 and then find out that 2 of my kids either end up in jail or dead.
yeah.
I'd rather feel like I can care for the kids in a good way. I don't have to be rich. It's not
Mm,
about being rich. It's just making sure that you raise kids that can be decent citizens. They don't have to be perfect,
yeah.
but make sure they finish school, make sure they find work, and again, they don't have to be wealthy, but just making sure that your offspring is successful in that way that they can then carry on the next generation and be able to care for their children in a healthy way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it's very important that um you have like you have one kid. Well, you got to replace yourself first of all. So you got well, 2 kids is a good number, and when you got 5 kids, I think you're definitely like what you just said. I think you're definitely likely, especially in like a place like my mom had 7, and fortunately, all of us we didn't all turn out like successful or great, but we're all healthy and we're all not criminals. But then you got some families where you won't be able to avoid falling into that crowd. So I think like what you said, if you have 4 or 5 kids, you're definitely going to lose a couple, especially the boys. The boy kids are the ones you got to worry about, or even actually then again the girls who might go into prostitution or something stupid like this, So
Or they get pregnant, or they get pregnant at
cycle on.
14. Yeah.
That's something what
Yeah.
happened with me, with my family. The girls didn't really understand, it was a broken home, so the girls didn't really understand, and they ended up getting pregnant quite early. I think the first, yeah, and that's something that happens when you don't have the education, understanding, and then you just basically bringing more people onto the planet who don't need to be there. So yes,
Well,
yes,
not necessarily that, but they're having children at the wrong age. There's nothing wrong with children, but somebody who's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18
should be having kids.
should be completing school.
Yeah,
Once you turn 20, 21, whatever, and you get a little older, you have a stable relationship, or at least you think you have a stable relationship.
mm,
Then if you decide to get married and have kids, that's a different story.
yeah,
But nowadays, I think a lot of young people are waiting, and they want to make sure that they have the man has a good job. They've been out of college or out of school for a while. They have a good job. And again, it's not about being rich. It's just being able to be happy to provide
mm,
for your wife, and for if there is a kid or kids involved, you want to make sure that you give them the basic necessities
yeah,
and enable them to have opportunities that maybe you didn't have.
yeah. That's true. And obviously, with too many kids and stuff like this, it's difficult. But do you think that's also something like if we go back into the original question about resources being managed well, kids are kind of a type of resource, and I guess that's where it starts at home. And if you decide to pump out kids, then you're not managing your resources well. Because look, they say, I think in Germany they have a saying: 1 kid is the same as 1 house, 2 kids is 2 houses, 3 kids is 3 houses. That's how much it's going to cost you to raise a kid. The same price as a house. That's what they say in Germany. So actually, the thing is, I'm from England. I don't even know if that saying exists in England in English. I don't know.
Well, what they do is they take the cost of what you cost to feed a kid, clothe a kid, school, transportation, all these things could add up to 20,000 pounds a year. Let's just say, right?
Yeah.
That's in a year, or it may even be 15, but you take 15 pounds, you times it by 18, which is like the year of being legal. That's enough to buy a house, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
guess that's the way they look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's definitely a smart thing, especially if you wait to have kids, to when you're like post 30, as opposed to trying to have kids when you're young, because and then
So
like I
does
said,
everybody here on the podcast have kids? Tanya, do you have kids?
oh, you don't have kids, you're smart. I can't hear
No,
you.
I never.
How do you?
Yeah, but I never wanted kids though. I never desired to have them.
Sorry, Tanya's muted.
But that was a personal choice. But Tanya, do you have kids?
Yes, I do. I have 3 girls and 4 grandchildren. I finally got some boy.
my
I'm in the grandson club. So
you got a son. I don't know, man.
And then experience. Does he have kids?
No, she's a silent listener today. She's just monitoring.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm 58. I made a conscious decision not to have children.
Okay.
Which is not a bad thing. I don't think it's actually a bad thing either. I think it's I don't know if
in a lot of ways, I'm a selfish person, but I'm selfish with myself, and I don't think it would be fair to bring a child into this planet or into this world and not give it the care that it deserves. So I made a conscious choice when I was young that I was going to dedicate my life to jiu-jitsu. So that's what I've done. So I'm like a monk,
Yeah.
Oh,
is that what you call it, a monk?
A monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like a monk with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. We're not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and you'll never meet anybody like me. I'm 58. I've never had sex. I'm still a virgin.
Wait, you're a virgin?
So I'm really a monk.
You really are a monk? Wait, is this abstinence or is it celibacy?
Right.
It's by choice. My body's a temple, and I just never met anybody that interests me in that way. I guess I could say I'm asexual. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested at all. I like friends. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not some person that lives in a cave and, I integrate with the population, but I have a line that I draw. I'm not interested in having sex with anybody.
Which is quite amazing, actually.
Okay.
It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got past all those male urges, but I wish I would have met you earlier, and I would be a different guy now.
No, I think the thing is, I was abused as a child. By a family member. And I think, I think I've had the upbringing that if my family could abuse me, anybody could. So in terms of intimacy, I don't have that kind of trust.
Because it changed you.
It does change you, right?
Yeah, it did. It affected me. It affected me. But I've never drank an ounce of alcohol. I've never used any drugs. I don't use pharmaceutical drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I never got into trouble. I've never been arrested. I've never been in jail. None of that. So, my life has been dedicated to jiu-jitsu, which is kind of like my religion, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But I don't look at other people as, just because you have 3 kids and Tanya, you have 3 kids and grandkids, that's what most human beings
do.
That's what the system of people pushes, that you reproduce. You reproduce. And I've just never followed that path. I've always had a different path.
So it's pretty awesome, actually. I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I don't think the system produces. I think there's something it's an instinct that we reproduce. Because if we didn't, we'd die out pretty quickly. So even if the system tries to tell us, like, for example, they're trying to tell us all to stay in now. Like, when I go into the city, I still see hundreds and thousands of people walking around. I'm like, guys, are you not supposed to stay inside? But you can't stop humans being humans. You cannot do it. Right. So even if they try to tell us, look, don't have sex, don't have contact. I know girls right now who are still meeting guys, behind the scenes. No one's supposed to meet anybody. You're supposed to stay away and have no contact. But I still know women who are dating or guys who are dating, and they should. So you'll never be able to stop that. That'll never stop. That's why even with this COVID thing that's going on, they're never going to get a full grip on it. Because
there's some of us that just don't have that instinct, I guess.
Wow, like I said, I admire you because there is like you said, there's monks in like Tibet and a place like this, China, Buddhist, who don't also manage to, I don't know if it's suppression or control this urge.
It's controlling your own mind.
Yeah.
I honestly believe your mind controls your body. If you listen to your body, then it will control your mind. There are a lot of guys that claim, they don't have control. It's like, come on, man,
that's something just I want to touch on. I was thinking about something today, and I was talking about with my wife about the fact that our body has its own master, like controlling it. So you breathe, but your body breathes automatically. You think you breathe, but you don't tell your body to breathe. It breathes on its own. You know what I mean? Just like when you think, you call up a thought, or your body will automatically call up thoughts into your brain, into your mind. Stuff like your heart beats on its own. There's something controlling that, but not you. You're not controlling it because you wouldn't think, I should make my heart beat now. You know what I mean? You're not doing that. No. It's doing it on its own. So that means something else exists inside you or your brain or whatever it is that's telling your body to do stuff without you. Now, what you just said about you can control your mind, that's what you should be able to control too. You should be able to control when you beat, your heart beats, or when you breathe, or when you stop breathing, for example. You can hold your breath for so long, but it's something in your body's going to click in, and then you're going to stop breathing again, unless you're underwater.
Through medication, through medication, you can... meditation, you can slow down your heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get the desire to want to have sex, you can click in your brain and say, no, I'm not going to have sex. You can having sex is a conscious decision. Yes, your body will give you signals and you will get excited or whatever in terms of wanting to do it. But in the end, you make the decision to take off your clothes and do it. You know what I'm saying? That's I think what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You get the urge, but you make the decision to do it or not.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good thing. Okay, let's just because we're not running out of time, but we've got a little bit of time to talk about this last topic. Should government and business not mix in order for there to be less chance of corruption? And what I mean by this is, for example, see, the thing is, I don't want to get too much into the Trump-Biden thing because we're not really interested in that stuff. But what I noticed with governments, it's their first interest seems to be to make sure the businesses are chilling and their pockets are filled. Now, wouldn't it make sense that in this world, we make government voluntary and non-profitable? So you don't, like, if you want to be a government official or someone who works there, shouldn't you do it for free? Shouldn't you do it in the interest of the people and not because I'm thinking, I might get paid well? I know in America you have a lot of, especially our people, a lot of African-American people work in the government sector. And I don't mean these slow jobs, but I mean the ones who are at the top who are making decisions, the Congress or whatever you call it. These guys should all be there based on voluntary. Like in England, we have a system which is called jury service. Jury service will call you up out of nothing and tell you, okay, you need to go into court now and watch a case, a court case of something, if someone got killed or something. You sitting there as a voluntary. The only thing you get paid is your job still pays you, but you're off work. So you're completely neutral. You go in there, no one's going to pay you off. No one's going to be like, I'm going to pay you. You sit in the court, and then they say, okay, listen to all the evidence, then make a verdict. That's free of charge. That's how I think government should work. What do you guys think?
I think for when you are, when you take a position, I think sometimes money and business blurs.
Yeah.
especially, when you come into the government. So I think, it depends on what line of field that you are in. I think the
Yeah.
higher that you go up, so that's say that if you're in government, any type of government, I think your money needs to be more transparent, because a lot of things have happened in the past where money has blurred, where, you use this money to go here, just like nonprofit. If you're a
Yeah.
nonprofit, they always say you can have a certain amount of money from your old business go into a nonprofit organization. So I think
Yeah.
that should still be the same when you are looking for, when you're talking about do organizations. So many big businesses, the lines blur because they keep money that they've had and they use it to keep a leg up on other businesses, or they take other businesses in that retrospect of like, okay, I'm gonna take your business and I'm gonna say I'm gonna do this with it, when they don't have those intentions. So I think sometimes that's like a fine line, like when big banks take small banks, or when big, when like the grocery store back in the 90s, when they started to take over, and like Walmart, and we had Big Bear, in the United States, and then Walmart and Kroger's came. So they push out those mom and pop stores because money is driven, because if you have more money, then you're able to monopolize more areas, more business, more land. So, we always talk about that's probably going to be here to the end of time. Do big businesses, are they able to bring what they have to other companies? I mean, in some retrospect, you should, but it's a fine line. Like you said, you're walking a real tight rope, because a lot of people don't use it for that good. They use it to monopolize other companies or other organizations with that money that they have.
Yeah. I want to show
What
you
do
this.
you think, Callum?
Callum, before you go, I want to show you something. This was in England. There's been a lot of talk about. Obviously, we're in this time where everything's a little bit tough, and people don't have money, and a lot of kids are at home. And they were saying, okay, we need to pay the families so much money, or pay the kids so much money so they can survive a week, to compensate for the school meals that they lose. Because normally when a kid goes to school, a lot of people survive on that. I used to go to school. My mom didn't have a lot of money. So I used to go to school and I used to eat there, breakfast and lunch. And it used to be free. It was from the state. So anyway, why I came up with this topic was because in last week, this is what they said £30 meal was. Look on your screens. This is what they had. This is courtesy of the Mirror, by the way, a stupid newspaper, which I don't support, but they've got the picture.
Yeah,
so
but I can't see anything.
Can't you see anything? Anyway,
I can't see anything.
This is what they said. Sorry. Maybe it's gonna come up in a second. Maybe they're gonna. So this is what they put up, and they said basically this is £30 worth of food for a week. This is £30 worth of food. I was like, wait there, 1 loaf of bread, 2 bananas, 3 apples, 2 carrots, tomato, two potatoes, half a bag of pasta, a little bit, half a slab of cheese, and something that's meant to be like yogurt, and 2 small, I don't know, chocolate thingies. Now this is what they said £30 was. Now I don't know where they would have got this food from, but I can tell you what, I can get this food for about £3. And then what they said was this company, which was private sector, which was given out as a contract from the government, obviously, were taking the £30 and then dicing it up into all their little areas. Oh no, that we need this, so we need to pay this guy. And in the end, all that was left for the kid was about £3. £3.99 or something. Anyway, someone smart did a real shopping and said, this is what you get for £30 if you use all the money. Look at this, 2 loaves of bread. You got celery in there. You got butter. You got like a pack of apples. You got pasta, different types of pasta. You got sauces. And I'm like, what the? How can they? And that's when you shop really for £30. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that from this, when you go from this to that, there's something up with government. And that's and here's even the list. This is from Lidl. I think you got Lidl. You got Lidl in America? Maybe. I don't know. And even prove it that this is 30 quid. So anyway, that was my little debate. Carlin, what do you think about
Yes.
this? Do you think government and business should split and become non-profit, or what do you think? Or how could they change it?
Well, I think when it comes to running a business, I think there should be some semblance of government control in that they set a framework where to observe. Like, for example, I know in the United States they have a thing called the Better Business Bureau, and it's basically a place where people can complain about shoddy business. So let's say, for example, I'm a plumber and you hire me to come into your home to fix a blocked drain,
Yeah.
and I do a really bad job,
Mm.
and I take your money and then I screw off and I never come back, but I don't complete the job, you can report me to the Better Business Bureau, which is part of like the government. It's like an offshoot of the government that kind of oversees and regulates
Mm.
corrupt business practices. So I think there should be something like that to oversee
The government.
people that run crappy businesses.
Mm.
Because in the States, in order to run a business, you have to have a license.
Mm.
So you can get your license taken away. In Brazil, it's a little bit more, it's different. I mean, I live in a favela. Like, I run several businesses here. I'm certainly not rich, far from it, but, I do massage therapy at the gyms. I go to the gyms with my table. I run Rep Your Rank, which is jujitsu accessories type of thing. And I'm not regulated by any government, but what I am regulated by is by the favela, in that there's a lot of gossip here. And if you do bad work, people in the favela gossip about you,
Yeah.
and you won't get work. It's like if you rent an apartment here and you don't pay your rent, word gets out. Don't rent to Carlin. Carlin is not a good risk. He doesn't pay his rent.
Oh wow.
You know what? And you know what? You'll never rent a place here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's in your best interest that if you live in a favela community like where I live, I want more business. So of course I take pride in my work. So, when I do a massage at the health club and I'm doing a sports massage on some runner or some jujitsu guy or triathlete, I do my best work, because word of mouth, that's the best form of advertisement. So I don't know about other people, but I take pride in my work. So the last thing I want to do is, crappy work where, the favela kind of outs me, so to speak. So I
Mm.
want to make sure that I always do good work. But that's
Yeah.
just my character. That's the way I was raised.
So do you reckon
You give people good.
so do you reckon the government should be run like that too? Because I think that system sounds better, even though it comes from a favela. It's bred in the favela, this idea.
Yeah.
But I think the government should have that too. I think you should be able to go there and say, look, you're working for free, or if you're working for a business, you should be regularly audited, and we can look what you're doing. And if you're, like, for example, I'm going to say to Trump just quickly, because I don't want to get into the big discussion with Trump. But what I do know that he didn't take his wage for the year or the 2 year or the 4 years that he was there, which is a good thing. That's a plus point. But what he did do in place was every time the government needed to do something, he did it on his private stuff. So he went to all his own hotels. He went to all his own golf courses. He went to all his own stuff. So he was like, hold on a minute. So he didn't take the wage. What he did do, in the end, he's ended up spending over £100 million, or no, dollars, sorry, $100 million on your own stuff. And I'm like, shouldn't someone be there to watch that and say, no, we have allocated places where you go and do this. So make sure the money goes, around. I mean, it's not illegal what he's done, obviously, but when you think about it, it's like, shouldn't there be some sort of government for this too? That's what.
But unfortunately, that's sad. But that's a part of politics,
Yeah.
And they all do shit like that, And that's nothing that we can really do anything. I mean, what I care about, I try to watch what I do. I try to, irrelevant of politics per se, Biden, Trump. I'm not even concerned with them because those guys, they don't make my life better. They don't make it worse or better.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
the one responsible for my life, okay, and what I
Okay.
do. So I'm more concerned about my business and what I'm doing. I can't worry about some
Yeah.
multi-billionaire, like, as long
Mm.
as he's not taking food out of my mouth or out of my
Yeah.
kids' mouths, then I focus on what I'm doing.
Mm.
It's easy to get caught
Okay.
up in other things that have nothing really to do with us. Unless something directly affects you, I
Yeah.
say try to stay positive and focus on your own business.
Yeah. That's
That's all
true.
you can do.
Yeah.
Because actually, saying
That's all
that,
we
there is
can do.
actually, yeah, actually, when you say that, it does make sense, really. Because what's the point of me worrying about the government when they, I'm going to go and get a job tomorrow. I'm going to go work at that job. I'm going to get paid some money. They're going to take the taxes anyway from me. And then I'm going to go home and make sure I can feed my family. Okay, they can put in place that I'll get more money, but they can put in place that I get less money. And I think at the end of the day, how much money I make is up to me. I can take another job, a second job, or, it's hard work, or I can try and get a higher
Or
paid,
start your own business.
or start your own business.
Or start
So,
your own business.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
so actually, you're
You
right about
know?
that. I think that's what people really need to start worrying about, as opposed to whether Trump was good or Biden was good or Boris Johnson or Bolsonaro, whatever his name is, or anybody like this, or Merkel.
Yeah.
Obviously you got COVID running at the moment, and we can't do anything. And the people would say to me, I guess they push back and say, yeah, well, I can't do anything at the moment. My business is closed. But I think there's actually stuff in place to support.
Well, in Brazil, everything's open. Everything here is open. I mean,
wow.
and I think I made a comment on the site there. It seems like the Western developed countries seem to have tighter controls with the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that the COVID thing is just a political thing. I mean, it doesn't matter who's involved, but we've had 62 people in this favela die. On an average, we have between 100 and 150 people in this favela that die a year. I got the statistics from our community government, which is called the Residents Association. We've had less deaths normally, and in Brazil, we had two big, huge things that came to be where people started questioning. One was the government invaded a temporary hospital that was built in Minas Gerais, and they have film of the congressman going in because this temporary hospital was soliciting money from the federal government, saying, yeah, we have 3,000 beds here and 200 people have died. We need help, blah, 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 right? Claiming that they had all these patients in this like airplane hangar type place. So the Congress of Brazil decided to pay a visit. They went in, and you know what? The hospital was empty. There were people walking around in PPE, like their protective gear and all, like it was a hospital, right? They went to work, but not one person was in there. Nobody was dead. Oh, the Congress people were furious because that's corruption, right? That's people were lying. Second thing, they interviewed a grave digger. I don't know if you remember the drone shots that overlook like a bunch of graves being dug and a bunch of coffins beside them. I don't know. It's a famous picture here in Brazil. This grave digger, actually, whistleblower, came forward and said that more than half the coffins were empty. They were filled with sandbags. They were told to put sandbags in the coffins and bury them. So when you hear stories like that, now I'm not trying to say that COVID doesn't exist. I believe it exists, but I don't think that it is any more severe than pneumonia or flu. Because one thing I've noticed, at least here in Brazil, there's not one talk of the flu, not one talk of tuberculosis, not one talk of pneumonia, and people die of these things every year, and it's majority people that are 70 and over. We have had some young people. Yes, I mean, you get young people that can die of the flu, So it's kind of like all of a sudden, well, wait a minute. Okay, I believe that COVID exists, but where are the numbers for flu and pneumonia and all these other illnesses? It's like they just disappear, and it's like
Mhm.
it's hard for me to follow and believe when the system is putting out all this information, but at the same time they're also censoring people that are trying to get the truth out.
Yeah.
Doctors that are
Okay.
saying, no,
Right.
our hospitals are not full, you know. So things like that make you think. You know what I'm saying? They make you start to think. And
Mhm.
it's not about a conspiracy. It's like, I want to see the numbers. How many people this year have died of the flu? There's got to be, because every year people die of the flu. Why
Mhm.
not this year? You know?
The
So
question is,
for me, anyway,
was that in Villa Formosa? Villa Formosa.
I don't know. I can't. Which thing?
This the graves that were being dug.
I can't remember. I just remember seeing the drone shot overlooking the graves and being dug, and like the coffins beside them, like ready to be buried,
Okay.
like hundreds of them. Like the picture you could probably see probably 80 to 100 in the picture from the drone shot.
Okay. What I would say,
But a gravedigger came out and whistle blew and said
no,
that
it's all
more than
fake.
half the coffins were not full of people. And when
Looks
you
like
hear
looks like
that,
sand
well,
actually. Yeah.
why would that guy lie, and say that the coffins were full of sandbags? Like why? What does he get? If anything, he'll get in trouble for that.
Can you see this picture? I don't know if it's this picture, but this picture looks like.
I can't see anything. My screen is black. I don't see you. I don't see the other
Oh yeah,
guest.
of course. Well, that's what I think he's talking about. This picture with the graves. What I would say is the reason why
Oh, okay. I see.
this is happening in Europe, for example. I think the people are a little bit more obedient. Like you live in Brazil, and Brazil, Brazil's kind of, that's what I like about places like Brazil and Africa, and because people don't just do what the government says all the time. South America, they don't just say, yeah, the government's right. They know the government's corrupt, so they're like, you know what, if they're corrupt, I'm not going to listen to them. So even when something
Yeah.
like this comes, this coronavirus, which might actually be real, no one really knows, but they'll just be like, we don't trust you guys anyway because you guys are corrupt. So I like that. I'd rather live in that world, to be fair. I'd rather live there because I don't trust the government here. But the thing is,
Yeah.
they hide their corruption better in Germany and England and America. I assume they hide their corruption much better than they do in Brazil. So that's why I
Yeah.
think we're seen as, when you see the pictures, it looks like we're the ones who are only listening and doing the stuff. But believe me, there's a lot. Like when I went to England a couple of months back, at least half the people weren't wearing masks. So they're also like, we don't trust you guys. You guys are stupid. And then obviously they're ramping it up now and telling you, look, you got a curfew. You got to be in by 6. You can only
Right.
go
Yeah.
today. You can only do this. You can only do that. So they're trying to they're giving more chances to the police who can go around and start rounding people up and putting them in concentration camps. I heard in Germany they want to start setting up a FEMA type camp area for people who are not willing to take the vaccine or not willing to listen to what the government says or quarantine. It's all a load of rubbish, man, to me. I don't really care about it.
So I got a question for both of you, for Tanya and yourself.
Okay.
If they
Okay.
force a vaccine on you guys, are you gonna take it?
Oh, my dead body.
How about you, Tanya?
It's a no.
But for now, it's a
No.
no because you just don't know. Like, I'd rather wait. You know what? When you think they need about 10 years to test it, 5 to 10 years, I'm going to wait 5 to 10 years. That's what I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until everybody's taking their vaccines and then have all their side effects and stuff. And then I'll be like, oh, nothing happened. Okay, I'll take it. Well, until then,
Right.
not get me with no vaccine for the first, which is made within a year, with no testing on guinea pigs or anybody. And people are dying left, right, and center from it. I don't care what they say. I've got a website open right now that shows you how many people are dying from it. Saying that, last thing.
Have you seen that people are dying from it?
Yeah, sure. Well, I haven't seen it personally, but I'm reading a lot of stuff about it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, people are dying from it. It's like
there was a case in where there was, I think it was 53 people. It was one of the popular countries. I think it was like Denmark or something. 53 old people died who just took the vaccine. Within like, I think within a week of taking the vaccine, they passed away. But the country said, yeah, it's got nothing to do with the vaccine though. But I was like, wait there, every death up until then was to do with the vaccine, which was to do with COVID, was to do with coronavirus. Every death until the vaccine came out was to do with coronavirus. And the moment the vaccine comes out, all the deaths are automatically attributed to other stuff. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
Gibraltar it was. In Gibraltar, 53 people died within 10 days of taking the vaccine.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, it wasn't because of the vaccine. It was because of something else. You know, they had something else. I'm like, wait there. What do they all have in common?
Bullshit.
The vaccine. Yeah, so here's another number for you. 181 people died in the US during the 2-week period from experimental COVID vaccine.
Oh my God.
So it's like for me, I'm like, keep using your vaccine for those who want to take it. You're good. But for me, I'm gonna take my chances with COVID. I'm gonna take my chances.
Well, you have a 99.9% survival rate with COVID.
Yeah, and I like that. He did take someone big though. Apparently, Larry King. You know Larry King. Apparently, he died.
I know.
He after he took the vaccine as well, and he died within 2 weeks.
But he was also 87 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
he was also 87 years old. So
died at 87 years old. He's natural causes, man. Okay, you don't need a vaccine.
I'm sure the vaccine didn't help.
Yeah.
So Tanya, where do you live?
I live in Columbus, Ohio. So I live in the United States.
Oh, okay. I've been to Cleveland. I used to do jiu-jitsu seminars in Mentor,
So
Ohio.
So we're like about 2 hours away from Cleveland.
I need to get out to Cleveland.
Yeah,
Ohio.
I know where it is. Columbus is a nice place. Columbus, Ohio is
it is a melting pot.
Yes.
The last 20 years, it has really changed. The culture and the diversity that is in Columbus has really changed. And there's more populations, cultures, and communities that have grown into Ohio because they've migrated from other cities and other countries. And it's great to see how much Columbus has grown. And I love Cleveland because we can go and it's closer to the water. And, if you're a sport fan, you have major right there, Cleveland Indians. You have the Cleveland Browns. So right there, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland. So I tell everybody, Columbus is enriched in history. Some of the presidents was born here. So it is it's a great place. And plus it's the Buckeyes also. So it is a sports town. Many the sports are living here. So yes, I haven't been to Brazil or Germany, but hopefully with COVID get over it, I can actually start traveling again.
Yeah.
And if you go, are you going to come to Brazil? Are you going to come visit me in Brazil?
Yeah, I will come because my friend, he goes all the time. He goes once a year and he loves it. Loves it.
To Brazil?
And then my aunt has been a journey. Yes, he has. And he said before the COVID, that's where he was going again because he goes like once a year. And then when COVID came, he wasn't able to, to travel because we've had the travel ban for us.
Yeah, here Brazil's open. Actually, I'm doing a tour tomorrow with 5 people from Morocco. So,
nice.
I work as a tour guide as well. So these guys want to visit the favela, so I'm going to give them a tour of the favela.
Cool. All right, guys. We've reached the end of the show.
All right.
But we're going to catch up anyway and talk about more about Brazil and stuff. That'll probably be in 2 weeks. Tanya, you have anything to promote?
Yes, please. You can learn all about me. I have a Anti-Bully Empower You Foundation. and we are a voice against bullying, not just in the United States, but across globally. And we would love for you to support us, donate to us. We are hosting 2 anti-bullying fashion shows. We have a mentorship program to help our students with self-emotion learning, mentorship, virtual learning, and tutoring. So you can find me on Facebook under Tanya Kelly MED. If you have children or friends who need help assistance with virtual learning, have them get on Facebook with Teacher in the Community. I am a Seesaw ambassador, Class Dojo ambassador. I work at Horizon Science Academy Elementary in Columbus, Ohio. So you can find me all over. And I'm a sports fanatic. I own my own sports multimedia company. So after my leg injury, I was able to go to my first sports game after 3 months of a leg injury. And Ohio State beat the second top 10 team. So you better find me on the Move with Sports Kels and Sports Kels Media. I have my own podcasting. So come on, check me out, follow us, support us, donate to us. We would appreciate it.
You gotta get me on your.
Nice meeting you.
You gotta get me on your podcast. Remember, you promised you teach me about the sport, the American football game. You know, we don't have a lot of education about this.
Yes, I got to teach you a lot about sports. I live and I breathe it. And you can find my podcast on Sports Kels Diva. It's sports and wine. So bring your wine, bring your brew, bring your cigar, and come on and listen to sports from a woman's perspective.
Great. Carlin, you got anything to bless us with?
Yeah, we got some news. We're raising money to buy a building here in the favela.
Oh, yes.
Hacinia, it's going to be called Hacinia Combat Sports Club, and it's going to be a martial arts school for women only, run by and for women. We're going to have street self-defense, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and yoga. And the way we're fundraising it is through Rep Your Rank, which is my Facebook page. It's REP, and then the letter U, and then RANK. I sell jiu-jitsu keychains, lanyards, dog collars, backpacks, all handmade by me, and masks too, that show your rank in either jiu-jitsu, judo, karate, whatever rank that you have in a martial art. I can put it on an item, and I make it by hand. So, but the martial arts school for women, we're going to do a fundraiser soon. I'm working with somebody in the United States in Florida. We have a website up and a Facebook page. So look up Rossinia Combat Sports Club.
Great. Carlin, I want to get my blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Can you give me a blue belt? Are you qualified to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a black belt, 3rd degree. I can give anybody a belt. I'm
going to come to you. I don't know if I got enough. How long do you normally need to get a blue belt? I've got about I've got about a year's training.
Okay. Well, what I'd have to do is I need to see you. I could send you the curriculum for a blue belt.
Okay.
So, like the techniques that you have to know, and then I'd want to see you roll with like 3 people.
Okay. Yeah,
that could be done video. And then I can send you, if I think you look like you know what you're doing, then I can issue a blue belt. But I would need to see if you don't come here, then I need video of it. You know, I need to see that you're capable. You know?
Send me the curriculum stuff. And then I want to come and do it in Brazil. I'm gonna book a 2-week holiday maybe. Then maybe over the 2 weeks we can do it. I can get my blue belt.
Okay, do me a favor. You gotta send me your email because the curriculum is in Word format.
Okay, no problem.
All
right, guys.
I can't.
All right. See you later.
Leave a comment, subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you guys next week. We have our adoption special program again. So yes, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening.
Can you put this podcast up on Facebook so I can promote it?
Yes, I'll send you a link immediately.
All right, thank you. That way I can promote it.
Yes. Okay. See you later, guys.
All right. Take care. Have a great night.
Yeah,
take care, Tanya.
Bye. I think she's gone already.
All right. Ciao, ciao, meow. Okay, how do I log out of here? Oh, leave.